All right, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right. Is Government Employees Retirement System of the Virgin Islands regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for Thursday, May 30th, 2024 is hereby called to order. Mr. Chair, Mr. Administrator, can I have a roll call, please?
Thanks for the promotion.
Me want to salute.
Trustee Bari.
Present.
Trustee Bari present. Trustee Dorsey.
Present.
Trustee Dorsey present. Trustee Liger.
Excuse.
Trustee Liger excused. Ex officio member Richardson.
Good morning, Florino Dane Hassel, sitting in for Director Richardson, who's not going to be able to be here today.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
So excused, I imagine. Trustee Russell.
Present.
Trustee Russell present. Trustee Smith.
Present.
Trustee Smith present. Trustee Colwood.
Present.
Trustee Colwood present. Mr. Chairman, there are 5 present, 1 excused.
Thank you. Are there any comments and suggestions from retirees? Any comments?
I, as a retiree, wanted to address the board, but I have to leave, Mr. Chairman, because I was trying to get the court to do my hearing via Zoom so I could participate in both meetings. But I will have to leave this meeting around 10:15. So I'm only here for 45 minutes.
Okay. Any comments and suggestions from active members? All right, next item up, Secretary's minutes for the April 16, 2024 meeting. Are there any corrections or edits to be made to those minutes? Hearing none, can I have a motion to accept the minutes for the April 16, 2024 meeting?
So moved.
Moved by
Smith, seconded by Trustee Dorsey. Have a roll call, please.
yes, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me. Trustee Bari.
Yes.
Trustee Bari, yes. Trustee Dorsey.
Yes.
Trustee Dorsey, yes. Trustee Liger, absent, excused. Trustee Russell.
Abstain.
Trustee Russell, not voting. Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Trustee Smith, yes. Trustee Colwood.
Yes.
Trustee Colwood, yes. Mr. Chairman, 4 yay, 1 absent, 1 not voting.
Thank you.
Mr. Administrator, good morning. I am here.
Hey. Okay, let us correct the record. I will mark Trustee Liger present. And Trustee Liger, we were at the point of voting on the adoption of the minutes of the April meeting. Shall we record a vote for you?
My vote is yes.
Trustee Liger, yes. Mr. Chairman, there are 5 yes and 1 not voting.
Thank you. Are there any communications and correspondences?
Mr. Chairman, none.
Chairman's report. I attended the NCPO's annual conference on May 20th to May 22nd. That's the conclusion of my report.
Okay,
The administrator's report.
just a moment, please.
Mr. Chairman, where was that meeting?
Seattle.
Thank you.
Okay, so, Mr. Chairman, I present the administrator's report, beginning with meetings, presentations, and appearances. On April 17th, I was privy to issuing a press release commenting on the Government Accountability Office report entitled Retirement Security, the U.S. Virgin Islands Pension Plan Faces Risk Paying Government Employee Benefits. We were proactive with issuing a press release in this matter. We shared it with the entire community and, of course, the board and employees of GERS. So everyone has had access to that report as well as to our press release. On April 18th, I conducted a loans program update meeting. On April 20th.
Via IP office.
That was odd. On April 25th, I conducted a meeting with Vitec regarding outstanding service tickets. On April 26th, I conducted a loans program kickoff meeting. On April 29th, we had the official restart of the limited personal loans program, which I will be sharing some details on in the course of this report. On May 6th, I participated in a meeting at Haven Site with the sculptor regarding design of a statue for the park that is being created. May 8th, I participated in a meeting with Net at Work, our software vendor. On May 9th, I attended the St. Thomas Employee of the Year ceremony as part of Public Service Recognition Week. And at this time, I would like to commend the Division of Personnel, Miss Florine Odane Hassel, for an excellent job on both St. Thomas and St. Croix, and our respective employees of the year. I've really appreciated it, and everyone in attendance did as well. Excellent work. Please convey our thanks to Director Richardson. On May 10th, I held a meeting with a particular Haven Site Mall tenant to discuss something that we cannot discuss in open session. May 10th, I attended the St. Croix Employee of the Year ceremony as part of the Public Service Recognition Week. On May 14th, I testified at the VI legislature in favor of Bill number 350238, sponsored by Senators Potter and Volkes, to grant GRS security personnel peace officer status. On May 19th through the 22nd, I attended the National Conference on Employee Retirement Systems. And on May 24th, I had the pleasure to announce the hiring of a Director of Retail, Dining and Entertainment, and Property Manager of the Haven Site Mall. Regarding Member Services Department, retirement applications, in 2024, thus far, we have received 88 retirement applications. 11 have been completed in terms of processing. There's 77 remaining. That's a 13% completion rate, but we expect that will be picking up. The last fiscal year, there were 291, of which 265 have been completed for a completion rate of 91%. Contributions processing, refunds, and death benefits. Refunds thus far in fiscal year 2024, there have been 68 cases totaling some $5.1 million that have been processed. Death benefits, excuse me, and this always saddens me because, of course, we're speaking about the death of a member. We have had 55 cases, 31 cases completed, and there are 55 cases pending completion. The accounting department reports annuity payments. Thus far in fiscal year 2024, we have paid out $168 million rounded of annuities. Annuity payments per pay period has arrived at the figure of $11.3 million. Disbursements by location, we have generally 9,399 disbursements per payday for the retirees. 1,732 of those are outside of the Virgin Islands, and 7,667 of them are inside the Virgin Islands. Personal loans. Well, this report is about to change. This report is as of the end of April, at which point we had 755 active loans, 427 on St. Thomas and John, and 328 on St. Croix. And mortgages, we had 71 altogether, with 52 on St. Thomas and John and 19 on St. Croix. The personal loan portfolio as of the end of April was $4.6 million in St. Thomas and John, and that's the overall loans figure was $4.6 million in St. Thomas and John, and $2.93 million in St. Croix. Personal loans at that time represented $2.9 million, with $1.6 million in St. Thomas and John and $1.3 million in St. Croix. However, as indicated earlier, I would be sharing information with regards to the restart of the personal loans program, which we had announced in a press release on April 8th, would begin with what we termed as expressions of interest from April 9th through April 19th, 2024. During that period of time, we received 1,563 expressions of interest, but after the list was examined and cleaned up, 197 of those were removed. Reasons included duplicate names, persons that applied who were retirees, persons age 70 or older, and persons who did not have the required contributions. We even had 2 cases of persons who were not even members of the GERS applying for loans. So, of course, those had to be removed. So after we removed the ineligibles, there were 1,366 valid expressions of interest. On April 26th, we issued an email to all persons with valid expressions of interest, indicating that they would be contacted beginning on April 29th or April 26th rather, for the scheduling of appointments, which in fact did begin on April 29th. And you will recall, Mr. Chairman, we were directed to restart the loan program by the end of April, and mission accomplished. We did in fact begin on schedule.
Good job.
Thank you. I would actually good job to the entire loans department, which is headed by our Deputy Administrator on St. Croix, Ms. Michelle Nico. I would like to recognize her and all of her employees, as well as the employees of the customer service unit that have been the ones contacting individuals to schedule their appointments. The process has been going very well. Unfortunately, we do have some who were contacted. They were not available at the time. Messages were left and they did not return the call. So there'll be another follow-up period for those individuals. So thus far, as of the end of April, no, I'm sorry, as of May 29th, we have processed completely 628, excuse me, of the 1,366 eligible individuals that express interest. That was a total of $6,187,190. That would represent some 31% of the $20 million that has been allocated by this board for the loan program. If you were to take the $6,187,000 and divide it by the number of loans processed thus far, that would give you an average loan size of $9,852, which is just shy of the maximum $10,000. So on average, individuals have been applying and qualifying for basically the full $10,000. Of the 628 that have been processed thus far, 240 of those have been on St. Thomas and John. 388 have been on St. Croix. The St. Thomas figure represents $2,308,470, and the St. Croix figure is 3,878,720. The St. Croix staff, I would point out, actually has one more individual, or had one more individual than the St. Thomas team. We have done an internal temporary transfer to beef up the capabilities in St. Thomas, but we also had more experienced staff in terms of loan processing on St. Croix. So St. Croix has certainly jumped out in the lead, but St. Thomas is closing the gap quickly. I would point out, just from an economic standpoint, in terms of the value of this loan program, the $6.2 million that we've disbursed thus far, if you consider that there's generally an economic multiplier effect of 3, that would represent some almost $19 million in economic activity for the territory, assuming that most of the monies remain within the VI economy. So we're doing our part to help the economy as well through this loan program, but it's also doing well for the GERS because the 8% interest rate is a good rate of return for the system, considering the options that we have. Should we continue at the rate of about $10,000 per loan, we imagine that by the end of the upcoming month, we would have completed the 1,366 expressions of interest that are valid, that turn into applications and turn into loans. And if each of those is roughly the $10,000, we believe that we will have about $6.5 million left of the $20 million from the first round of expressions of interest and applications, approvals, and loans. So we do anticipate that probably come July, we'd reopen the program to utilize the remaining $6.5 million. Right. I do believe that some individuals may have been skeptical at first as to whether the loan program would start, but now they're seeing their friends receiving checks in the mail, and of course summer is coming and there's all kinds of needs and desires, and that $6.5 million will probably go very quickly as well. But all in all, I'm happy to report that we have a very successful program. It's been very orderly. It's not like the stories I've heard of lines at dawn at 4 o'clock in the morning, people lining up to apply for loans. Our staff has been handling this very professionally, and I would once again like to commend them for the great work that they've been doing. So, and this has been done all with internal resources. We have not hired one more individual. Okay, so that would be my report with regards to the loans program. Continuing the administrator's report, with regards to operations, there are no issues with our GERS complex on St. Croix proper. We do have an emerging issue with the building that houses the Casino Control Commission that we are presently dealing with. It has to do with some leakage, so we do have to jump on that. Regarding the St. Thomas complex, the new GERS generator has been essentially complete. All of the, as you probably saw, since you parked right in front of it, we have to find the chairman a new parking space, Miss Glendon, and he's violating. Anyway, the room is completed, the generator has been installed, and there may be some punch list items that are being done, but essentially we're very good with that. It does look very nice. At Havenside Mall, exciting work continues at the mall with the progress on the hotel, which is now approaching the 3rd out of 5 floors, and we are in regular contact with the hotel developer. They are on target to be completing the hotel in the first quarter of 2025. So we are excited about that and look forward to great things. We continue working with our strategic partner Ideas with regards to the development of the overall master plan for GERS. We will be sharing that with the board at the appropriate time, and it would certainly be an item of discussion at our board retreat in July. Okay. Our rent collections are As typical, our private sector, I'm happy to report that one of our private tenants that shall be unnamed in open session that had a sizable balance owing to us received a demand letter, and they complied with the demand, and they're now completely current with the payment of their rent. The only arrearages that we have are from the public sector, and those are the Department of Justice and the Division of Personnel. But even those are only open for the month of April and now May, of course. So it's not an excessive arrearage, but we would certainly like to have the arrearage for rent and electricity addressed as soon as possible, and I'm sure that it will be. So all in all, great things at the GERS, a very productive month, a very productive quarter, and not to steal Mr. Hedrington's, I have to, since Miss Jeremiah isn't here, I'll present the CFO's report as well regarding revenues and disbursements. So
well, before we move on, sure. Any questions so far with respect to the administrator's report?
I just have one.
Yes.
Did they vote in favor of the peace officer status, or that was still on? They denied it, right?
Yeah, it lost in votes.
It was approved in the Committee of Jurisdiction, which was Homeland Security, but it did not pass in rules.
Thanks.
Trustee Russell, you had a question?
Yes. About the loan program, is there an administrator of the loan program other than you, Mr. Dawson?
Yes, Trustee Russell, as indicated, Ms. Michelle Nico, the Deputy Administrator on St. Croix, also has oversight responsibility for the territorial loan program and has been doing a fabulous job.
Okay, so of the applications that you received, I was a bit unclear as to how much applications were approved. I heard you saying you received applications for, and you said succinctly that some applications were disapproved. But have all of the applications been approved? What's the rate of approval?
I'll be happy to repeat the information, Trustee Russell. We received 1,563 expressions of interest. We removed 197 because they did not qualify. That left 1,366 eligible individuals. Thus far, 628 have been approved. That is a 46% completion rate at this point, in less than a month.
I didn't.
And also considering that we had Carnival in between, right?
Okay. And I'll follow up on that via email. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
You mentioned the park statute with respect to Havenside. Does it call woman?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Right. May I proceed?
Yes.
Okay. Thus far in fiscal year 2024, the GERS's collections have been some 218 million. 247, yes, this is year to date, $218,247,572. Our disbursements have been $175,528,177 for a net cash surplus of $42,719,395. Our administrative expenses continue well within budget, so we are proceeding apace with our administrative expenses, and of course minimizing them whenever and wherever possible. Havenside Mall, on an accrual basis.
Could I interrupt the maintenance?
Go ahead, Trustee.
I think Mr. Dawson, is important to point out as you talk about the collections versus the disbursement, that the collections include $124 million from the funding program,
Correct, Trustee Dorsey. Bowery, I'm sorry.
Richard suggests that without that it would have been a negative situation.
Which is why it was so important that the limited purpose, special purpose vehicle was passed. And kudos to you for your efforts and for your leadership in ensuring that that was done.
I'm sure it's quite a take for that, but I just think it's important to point that out.
It will be the same for every meeting. But yes, it is important, and it was critical to the continued success of the GERS. However, there have been other efforts, as will be highlighted in Mr. Hetherington's report, Henderson's report rather, thus far in fiscal year 2024, based largely on positive markets and prudent investment decisions. We are up by $97 million in this fiscal year with regards to our portfolio holdings. So it's a combination of factors that has us in a more positive situation. But certainly, as I take the opportunity every time to emphasize that due to the structure of the funding note, we're not completely out of the woods, and we have to remind stakeholders and decision makers of that as well, as you're well aware.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Trustee Bowery. So with regards to Havenside Mall, we've had collections of, well, on an accrual basis, we have revenues of $3,549,913, expenditures of $3,347,156 for a profit to date of $202,757. This does, however, include some other services that were a bit on the high side that were required in terms of upkeep of the mall. So we expect to have an even better year profit-wise at the Havenside Mall, which is doing quite well. Mr. Chairman, with that, I would conclude the CFO's report, and I imagine the next item would be the investment officer's report, correct?
No, before we get to the investment officer's report, well, first of all, we have to, I need a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
Who move? Dorsey. Okay, moved by Dorsey, seconded by Trustee Smith.
Roll call, please. Trustee Bowery?
Yes.
Trustee Bowery, yes. Trustee Dorsey?
Yes.
Trustee Dorsey, yes. Trustee Liger? Trustee Liger? No, he joined. Did we lose him? Trustee Liger not voting?
Yes.
Oh, Trustee Liger, yes.
Trustee Liger said yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Trustee,
I said yes.
confirming, Trustee Liger said yes. Trustee Russell?
Not voting.
Trustee Russell not voting. Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Smith, yes. Trustee Colwood?
Yes.
Trustee Colwood, yes. Mr. Chairman, 5 yes, 1 not voting.
All right, thank you. Committee reports. Nothing from the Budget Committee or Investment Committee. All right. Mr. Henderson.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, trustees. This is an update of the. Could you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. This is the update of the portfolio as of April 30th, 2024. As we began the third quarter of the fiscal year 2024, we've seen about 5 out of the 7 months positive. Unfortunately, April was not one of them. So just to summarize April performance-wise, domestic and developed market equities led to pretty much a bulk of the declines for the month of April in the portfolio. The U.S. equities declining was attributed to higher than expected inflation, which tempered hopes for interest rate cuts in the near term. On the Eurozone side, shares also fell over concerns similar of what the prospects of higher for longer U.S. rates would have on economic growth. To combine the fact that the U.S. also led the sell-off in global government bonds in April. So the 10-year Treasury yield hit the highest level, which was about 4.7% since late 2023, as inflation remained in the spotlight with the market continuing to question the timing of possible rate cuts by the Federal Reserve. What did that mean for performance for the plan for the month? So total plan, we were down 2.5% for the month. But fiscal year to date, we're still holding strong at 11.4%, respectively. So we still have a pretty strong fiscal year return, even though we had the negative performance for the month of April. As it pertains to total domestic equity, that was down 4.5%. International equity returned or was down 1.8%. That was led by developed market, which was down 2.5%. And emerging market, even though it outperformed developed market, was down slightly as well, 0.4%. Our total domestic fixed income portfolio was down 1.4%. Our investment grade bonds were down 2.5%. Our TIPS was down 1.6%. Our high yield bonds returned, it was down 0.9%. And the highlight of that portfolio was the cash that we held in the portfolio, which was up about 0.4%. So that 5% allocation that we had to have for cash definitely helped us there. Total alternatives was also down slightly, 0.1%. What did that represented to in dollars? So we ended the month at approximately $510.3 million. So at the beginning of the month, we had a beginning market value of about $533.9 million. We had a net cash flow of $10 million, which we withdrew for benefit payments. We had income of about $67,000. We had unrealized loss in the portfolio of about $13.6 million. That brought us to that ending market value of $510.3 million for the month of April. Our fiscal year to date, we began at $413.5 million. We had a net cash flow of $38.9 million. This includes the proceeds we did receive from the funding note. Income fiscal year to date, $723,000. As pertains to gains in the portfolio for the fiscal year, $57.2 million. I think Mr. Darcy might have incorrectly stated 97. It's 57.2.
It's 97 altogether.
Altogether. And the ending market value
Superior Court.
Trustee Russell, can you please, please?
Which brought us to the ending market value of $510.3 million for the fiscal year and ending date. We did have to raise some funds in the portfolio to replenish our cash on hand. So we did raise $19.5 million in the month of April. We did have to raise $11.5 million from our Russell 3000 index. We raised $5 million from our emerging market index. And we raised an additional $3 million from our EFA index to cover that cash on hand. As it pertains to fees, we paid $55,000 it should be month to date, calendar month to date, for investment consultant fees. Calendar year to date, we've paid about $154,000. And fiscal year to date, we've paid about $241,000 in fees. Our fees remain pretty low. Still at total fee, we pay about 0.03% or 3 basis points total. As it pertains to securities lending, we did receive about $2,000 month to date. Fiscal year to date, we've received about $19,000 from that program. And all those funds have been reinvested respectively back into their funds. Mr. Chairman, trustees, that ends my report for the month of April, and I'll happily answer any questions.
So, Chairman, please let the record reflect that the $97 million that I refer to took all factors into account.
I have one question. Mr. Henderson, you know, I always come up with the same comments. When are we gonna be able to go back into, well, the outlook for stocks and bonds for this portfolio?
Well, and I keep giving you the same answer, Trustee Smith. we are actually in stocks and bonds as I speak.
But
we pretty much.
I know all of the funds are.
I know. You're talking about getting out of index funds and getting more into active management.
All right. Either we can do a 70 instead of a 60.
If I'm hearing you well. The thing is,
sorry, Mr. Chairman, I would like to address that. And so that's going to be one of the items that's going to be discussed in detail at the board retreat. I'm in receipt of very good information from the NCPERS conference that we just attended with regards to the ongoing debate as to the appropriateness of index funds versus investments in individual stocks. So that is something that I would ask that we defer to the July board retreat, where we'll have our experts who will be certainly prompted by me to provide the board with some relevant information for decision making.
Mr. Chairman, I have to be excused. I have to attend a court hearing. If I'm able to come back in, I will, but I have to be excused. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Henderson?
I wasn't clear about that discussion, that recent discussion between the administrator and Trustee Smith and Mr. Henderson. What was that issue?
So if I understood Trustee Smith's question correctly, she was asking about our investment philosophy with regards to being largely invested in index funds, which are broadly representative of the various stock markets, as opposed to choosing and investing in individual stocks. That is actually a very good question, and it is one that is being examined by pension plans throughout the nation at this time. There may be a move somewhat away from index funds and into individual stocks, particularly value stocks. But I ask that discussion be deferred to a more comprehensive discussion to be held in our July board retreat, as we will have our investment advisors and actuaries available to us at that time, and not just our investment officer.
Okay, good. I mean, yeah, that requires some careful consideration. So.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
You're most welcome.
Can I have a motion to accept the investment officer's report?
So moved. So moved.
Sorry, Chair, I have a question to the report.
We see our question, Trustee Dorsey?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to ask the drawdown for the month, for this month. I know if the document shows I think it's 85 million year to date. What was it for this?
Trustee Dorsey, we're having trouble understanding. You have a lot of echo. Like mute.
Mr. Chair, I think it's Trustee Dorsey, your question, how much we withdrew so far for the fiscal year?
No, for this month alone.
Oh, okay, for
this month, because the document was showing 85 million up to this point, but I was just asking for this month.
Okay,
this being a 3-pay period month, I want to know how that works even going into the next month. Does that give you a little bit more?
No, the retiree payroll is always two per month. It's bi-monthly.
Okay.
Not bi-monthly, semi-monthly.
Yeah, the question was the drawdown for this particular month to make the payroll.
We withdrew 10 million, Trustee Dorsey.
Okay, so was that 10 million came from profit, or did that just come straight out? I mean, it came out of the portfolio, but did the 10 million, did we make it in profit for the quarter or for the month?
As we liquidated that $10 million, I think we did realize about 4.1 million in realized gains.
Can you repeat the last part?
We did realize about $4.1 million in realized gains.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by Trustee Smith to accept the investment officer's report. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Trustee Smith, seconded by Trustee Dorsey. Have a roll call, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Trustee Bowery?
Yes.
Trustee Bowery, yes. Trustee Dorsey?
Yes.
Trustee Dorsey, yes. Trustee Liger?
Yes.
Trustee Liger, yes. Trustee Russell? I think he departed, right?
Yeah.
So absent of a roll call. Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Smith, yes. Trustee Colwood?
Yes.
Trustee Colwood, yes. Mr. Chairman, 5 yea, 1 absent.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda, the solution of the Haven Site Management Oversight Committee. At this time, I'll yield the chair to Trustee Smith. May I proceed?
Yes.
Okay, I asked to have this on the agenda in some discussion with the administrator. In a move to streamline operations, I'm proposing that we dissolve the Haven Site Management Oversight Committee and place the oversight function and investment committee. All the members of the Board of Trustees are members of the investment committee, so I'm proposing that we move the Haven Site Mall, which has been a very good performing investment for the GRS. I'm proposing that we move that under the investment committee and dissolve the Haven Site Management Oversight Committee.
Any questions to that, trustees? Trustee Dorsey?
I guess, yeah, I have a question. So how will we be meeting? Because when we had it as a oversight committee under the previous CEO, we were meeting on a monthly basis and it was very, very productive. So are we going to continue that process under the investment committee?
Investment? No.
I'm just asking how we're going to meet.
Who's we?
The team and the whole investment, all the trustees that you're talking about, right? Trustee Dorsey? All investment committee members, which is all of the trustees.
Right. I'm asking how often will we be meeting? Will we be on back on the same plan that we were on under the previous CEO, which was very productive as to how we got to the point where we have a new hotel opening on the dock? With the committee was very productive. So I was just asking how it was operating. Are we changing that? Or are we just going to maybe an as-need basis of a meeting? Because when I look at the reports, from this CEO, seems to be a lot of activity still going on as it was before. The only problem, or the only difference, not a problem, but the only difference, we're not in on it, and now I'm told that we're not going to hear anything. I guess maybe once a year at the retreat.
Committee.
The investment committee meets quarterly with our investment advisor and our actuaries. So we meet on a quarterly basis. If there's a need to meet more frequently, we can do so. And let me correct that. Let's make the record clear that the hotel development was as a result of action taken by the entire board. So to say that the hotel development is some way a result of the Haven Site Management Oversight Committee is somewhat misleading and incorrect. I just wanted to make sure that.
Ultimately, we have to vote on whatever major development we want to do.
Well, all the discussions pertaining to the hotel development took place with the entire board as an investment committee. All of those discussions took place.
That's not correct. That's not correct. All the discussions did not take place with the entire board. If you go back to the minutes, you will see that the former CEO was really the lead on that, with the former chief counsel was a lead on that. So that's not correct, but it is what it is.
For the initial discussion took place at the Port Authority conference room, and then Chairman Nelson Bowery, the entire board was present. That was an investment committee meeting. I have never been part of the Haven Site Management Oversight Committee. I have never been for a Haven Site Management Oversight Committee meeting, but maybe one time. And I've been in on every single board discussion regarding the hotel development.
Well, I'm not coming here to go back and forth on that particular issue. You want to move it on the investment committee, that's fine. We can move on.
All right. Yeah, so I moved that we place it.
So we need a motion
There'll be two
to
motions,
adapt.
right?
Wait. Oh.
Somebody have a question?
Oh.
Trustee Bory, do you have a question or comment?
No, I'm ready to vote to disband the committee and put it on the investment committee and put that item, move that item under the investment committee. So I'm ready to vote on that when you're ready.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Liger. Any questions before we make a motion to adopt the
No, Ms. Smith, I don't have a question. Like Mr. Boris said, I am ready to vote.
Okay, so can I have a motion?
I move to dissolve the Haven Site Management Oversight Committee and place oversight of that investment under the investment committee. I so move.
Okay, has been moved. Can I have a second, please?
I second.
Okay, has been moved and seconded.
I move and
Trustee Colwood, right? I'm so not used to seeing you out in the chair. And they were seconded by Trustee
Liger.
Can
I have a motion? Can I have a roll call, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. Trustee Bowery?
Yes.
Trustee Bowery, yes. Trustee Dorsey?
Yes.
Trustee Dorsey, yes. Trustee Liger?
Yes.
Trustee Liger, yes. Trustee Russell, absent. Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Smith, yes. Trustee Colwood?
Yes.
Trustee Colwood, yes. Madam Chair, 5 yea, 1 absent.
Thank you. The motion has been adopted. Turning the chair back over to Trustee Colwood.
All right. Are there any privileges of the floor? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Moved by Trustee Dorsey, seconded by Trustee Smith.
Oh, we don't have any before. Well, you don't close out any. No legal matters to discuss. All right. Okay.
So, it is a motion on the floor, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes.
Shall
Roll call.
we take a roll call? Trustee Bowery?
This is a motion to adjourn?
Yes, yes, sir.
John early?
Yes.
Trustee Bowery, yes. That's a big smile. Trustee Dorsey?
Yes.
Trustee Dorsey, yes. Trustee Liger? Trustee Liger?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Trustee Liger, yes. Trustee Russell, absent. Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Smith, yes. Trustee Colwood?
Yes.
Trustee Colwood, yes. Mr. Chair, 5 yea, 1 absent.
All right. Motion is adopted. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You all have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hold on, Chief.